Should Jameis Winston be the #1 pick of the Tampa Bay Bucs? That's a loaded question, Mel.
Well, I think you have to decide. Winston, Mariota, you got to take a quarterback if you're Tampa Bay. You had a lot of time to figure this out. Jameis Winston on the field was outstanding. 2 years ago, flawless. This year, second half was big time. First half, yeah, he dug his team into some holes, and he dug them out. 7 games this year, and through his career, 7 total games decided by 7 points or less. He won them all. And I think when you look at that record in the clutch situations, he has dealt with, you talk about adversity on the field, Jameis has dealt with it, and he's won those games. 1 loss, and it wasn't his fault. Now, the off-the-field issues, 7 of them, you can't tolerate that. You cannot be an effective CEO and not be somebody who can be trusted by that organization and by those teammates. He's got to change that. He's got to mature. He's got to realize the responsibility of that position. We have never in the history of the NFL draft had a #1 overall pick quarterback come into this process, and finally today will be the #1 pick with all those issues away from whether he can just transition from college to pro as a quarterback.
I think Lovie Smith and his staff have done a great job researching Jameis Winston off the field. I can't keep talking about it. All I know is Dirk Cutter is the new offensive coordinator. Let's not forget that. He comes from the Atlanta Falcons. He had great success with Matt Ryan, throwing the ball down the field to Julio Jones and Roddy White. Tampa Bay has 2 great big receivers, Vincent Jackson, and we know Mike Evans, who was a rookie last year, did an outstanding job. Do you want to go with this young Jameis Winston, the pocket passer, and develop him on the field and off the field? I know this, Tampa must get some continuity on offense, and it starts with Dirk Cutter and keeping this system for a period of 2 or 3 years. Personally, Lewis, I like Mariota because he can do it all, and he covers up for an offensive line that really struggled last year in Tampa.
Yeah, there are no transcendent players in this draft, meaning there are no players that can succeed in spite of whatever organization they go to, and that includes the top 2 quarterbacks. I'm picking Jameis Winston for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it's imperative that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers make sure that they have their organization zipped tight from A to Z, meaning they have a plan for developing him, they have a plan for dealing with him. If anything comes up off the field, they have a plan for managing him in the classroom, on the football field, during practice, from A to Z. That's going to be the theme throughout this entire draft with almost any position, because there's a bunch of players clumped together, and this is a team builder's draft this year. This is about what do you need, and what are you going to do with it when you get it in order to extract maximum value out of it.
You have to be careful to be swayed by public opinion. But, of course, with Jameis Winston, he's the quarterback 2 hours up the road at Florida State. They have a half-empty stadium that may or may not enter into the thought process. So will this, the way he plays.
Well, I think the debate is pocket passer against read option and running. You think about Russell Wilson. Marcus Mariota could be that. But guess what? 14 of the last 15 Super Bowl winners have been pocket passers. Only one that hasn't has been Russell Wilson. That's catching lightning in a bottle. Jameis from the pocket can make all the throws necessary to win and win big. He was only sacked 19 times. Mariota was sacked 31 times. He understands how to play NFL football from the pocket. And as I said, go back to the last 15 Super Bowls. Only one was not won by a pocket passer where the read option was included. That's Russell Wilson. Where's Colin Kaepernick now? Where's RG3 now? Winston, if he can take care of business, and you take that leap of faith, as the Buccaneers probably will do, he better come through and be the CEO. Because on the field, he should be fine. But if you're not doing the things off the field in those months leading up to the start of training camp, you will underachieve and you will be a bust. So there is boom or bust potential with Jameis Winston because of the off-the-field concern.
Well, again, that's what it all comes back to. It comes back to that boom or bust moniker. That comes back to and will be determined by exactly what their plan is once you get him in your building. Because we know that right now, look, his decision-making has been spotty, to say the least. Okay, he's put himself in situations that you just don't want to see a guy at the top of the draft at the quarterback position put him in. So you just have to turn inward. As much due diligence as you've done on him, you better have done some own due diligence on your own organization to make sure that we are going to make sure that he'll be successful.
Well, it all starts with decision-making at the quarterback position, off the field and on the field. And my biggest concern with Winston is there's too many bad decisions. 28 interceptions is one thing. I have 12 or 13 other passes that should have been intercepted. Jameis Winston could have thrown a lot more interceptions than the 28 he did at Florida State. He must clean up his decision making, and there's far too many pre-snap penalties. 36 false starts in the last 2 seasons. I want to see Jameis Winston become a great pro quarterback. Got to improve his decision making on and off the field.
The Buccaneers are making a decision that is a 10, 12, 13-year decision. This just isn't as, hey, maybe. This is tickets. This is direction of franchise. This certainly is a coaching staff. I mean, let's face it, this doesn't work. They're all out. And the Buccaneers, they got nowhere to go but up with 2 wins the last year. The commissioner opened the draft across the street at Selection Square in Drafttown. The commissioner is on his way to the first pick of this 80th NFL draft. Began back in the 30s. Chicago has hosted it a couple of times in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and as we said, the latest was December of 1963. Now we're here in 2015. Who's the pick?
With the first pick in the 2015 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jameis Winston, quarterback, Florida State.
Well, Jameis Winston, you know what he did. Heisman Trophy winner, 26-1. As a starter, won his first 26 game, only lost the last game in the Bowl Series. So Jameis Winston goes down the road from Florida State to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.